Men's mental health. Common signs men have mental health issues. If a man is diagnosed with one of the most prevalent mental health illnesses, he is less likely to get help than a woman who has the same problem. Surprisingly, though, males are almost 4 times as likely to commit suicide than women are. What's stopping guys from getting the diagnosis and treatment they need for prevalent male mental health disorders? Young males are conditioned to believe, according to societal expectations, that they should show no signs of emotional weakness. As a result, males tend to dismiss the seriousness of their mental health problems, deny that they are experiencing any difficulties, and avoid getting assistance. Signs of mental illness in men. Men are less likely to discuss their feelings of sadness, worthlessness, or hopelessness than women are. Instead, men's mental health issues often present themselves via signs like number 1, acts of aggression and violence. It's common to hear the words aggression and violence used interchangeably, although they mean different things. The two terms are sometimes used interchangeably, but violence refers to the intentional use of force to cause harm to another person or destruction of property, while aggressiveness refers more broadly to hostile or aggressive emotions or actions. Aggressive men may or may not resort to physical force when they express their emotions. With the guidance of a mental health expert, problems associated with aggressiveness and violence or its consequences may be addressed in treatment. Number 2, difficult and perhaps dangerous tasks. High-risk behaviors are those that put one at a higher danger of contracting an illness, be it physical or mental, or just being injured, either of which may lead to serious health issues and even more serious societal issues, including disability, premature death, and social exclusion. Violence, alcoholism, tobacco use disorder, high-risk sexual activities, and etiological eating disorders top the list of most prevalent high-risk behaviors. Number 3, abuse of substances. Someone with a co-occurring disorder or dual diagnosis struggles with both drug misuse and another mental health condition, such as depression, bipolar disorder, or anxiety. Substance misuse, alcoholism, or drug addiction is challenging enough without simultaneously contending with mental health issues. And vice versa. When you have a mental health condition plus an addiction to drugs or alcohol, the symptoms of both might interfere with your daily life and make it hard to do things like go to work or school, have a steady home life, deal with life's obstacles, and form healthy relationships. Complicating matters further, the co-occurring conditions have reciprocal effects. There is often a worsening of the drug misuse problem when the mental health issue is not addressed. Mental health issues tend to grow with a rise in alcohol or drug usage. Number 4, symptoms of the body breaking down, such as frequent gastrointestinal distress or recurring migraines. Neither the general public nor medical professionals seem to accept or comprehend the connection between mental and physical health problems. However, there are physicians who will use your mental condition as an excuse to disregard your medical problems. Mental health problems are typically contrasted with physical health problems in our minds. We even make the mistake of pitting them against one another at times. It's often believed that mental disorders aren't given the same amount of attention as physical ones, but anybody who's ever suffered from an invisible chronic illness knows that physical symptoms aren't usually taken seriously either. The inverse of this is that people tend to brush off actual bodily symptoms as being all in your mind. Number 5, distraction and inability to concentrate are symptoms. Getting antsy and fidgety is a normal human emotion. However, when restlessness is chronic and accompanied by additional symptoms, such as mental health problems, it may disrupt everyday living and diminish a person's quality of life. The mental state may be affected by restlessness, which might manifest as an inability to sleep, difficulties focusing, tenseness, or anxiety. It might even manifest itself physically, as in the case of restless legs syndrome. Number 6. Variations in appetite and body mass index. The body's natural response to physical or mental stress is an increased hunger, but a persistently increased appetite may be an indicator of a more severe health problem, such as diabetes or hyperthyroidism. Changes in appetite and excessive eating have been linked to mental health issues, including depression and stress. You may want to schedule a visit with your physician if your hunger is persistent and severe. Number 7. Fatigue. Chronic fatigue, often known as extreme weariness or extreme weakness, may have both physical and mental causes. Fatigue is a universal condition that will afflict the vast majority of adult humans at some time in their lives. About 1.5 million Australians every year see a medical professional because of chronic tiredness. Number 8. Having an overabundance of thoughts. Repetitive thoughts or obsessions and actions are hallmarks of obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD, a prevalent and chronic condition. OCD symptoms are strong and ongoing, unlike the occasional worry or desire to double check that everyone experiences. These signs can be upsetting and may prompt actions that make it difficult to go about one's regular routine. The impulse to check things over and over again or execute rituals for more than an hour a day is a common symptom of obsessive compulsive disorder and may provide some brief respite from worry. Without proper treatment, OCD symptoms may negatively impact a person's ability to function in the workplace, classroom, and social circles, as well as their overall sense of well being. Therefore, many young guys are suffering in silence since their mental health problems are either misdiagnosed or not recognized at all. We've compiled a list of the top 5 mental health issues affecting males today. Number 1. Depression. One of the most prevalent mental health concerns affecting males is depression. It has been shown that 5.5% of young adult men have depression, according to data collected by the CDC. There are almost twice as many women in that age range. Despite the fact that depression is less often diagnosed in males than in women, many young men suffer from depression that goes unrecognized by their doctor, since their symptoms are less likely indicative of severe depressive illness. Although males have a lower proportion of depression diagnosis and suicide attempt, they are 3.7 times more likely to die by suicide than women, as reported by the National Institute of Mental Health. Reason being, male suicide attempts are more likely to include lethal means, such as weapons. And since suicide attempts among young people are more common than among any other age group. Number 2. Anxiety. Men are disproportionately affected by mental health issues, and anxiety disorders are among the most prevalent. Men might suffer from a wide variety of anxiety problems, such as anxiety disorder, OC disorder or obsessive compulsive disorder, disorder of pervasive anxiety, and phobias and social anxiety. The prevalence of social anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder are approximately the same for both sexes. Number 3, addiction to substances. According to the results of the most recent Monitoring the Future poll of young people, young males are more likely than young women to engage in substance addiction. Additionally, fatality and hospitalization rates due to alcohol use are continuously greater among males than among women. Problematic drinking and other forms of drug misuse are less often identified as symptoms of a mental health illness in males, since they are socially acceptable for young guys and even considered masculine. Number 4, distress from a traumatic event. Post traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is another prevalent male mental health condition. Also, service members aren't the only ones who may have PTSD. About 60% of males will go through some kind of traumatic incident in their lifetime, whether it be an accident, a physical attack, battle, or just seeing someone else's death or injuries. Number 5, instability of mood. Previously known as manic depression, the mood and energy levels of those with bipolar illness fluctuate widely. About 2.6 of men in the United States experience the onset of manic or depressive symptoms between the ages of 15 and 24. There is an underdiagnosis of bipolar illness in young males, as there is with many other prevalent mental health diseases. Many of the signs of bipolar disorder in young males are easily dismissed as typical. Some symptoms of the manic phase of bipolar disorder include excessive confidence and risk taking behavior, whereas those of the depressed phase include irritation and isolation. In addition, bipolar illness in men is more difficult to diagnose since men tend to suffer less frequent cycling between the phases. Because of this, males who suffer from common mental health illnesses are left with the impression that they are alone. And when alone, this eventually puts them at a high risk of attempting suicide.